I never once saw him holding a book, but he liked comics, especially ones set in the American Far West. He had almost the full collection of a comic series with a hero called Blueberry. He spent a long time reading them on the toilet. I was going to say he locked himself in the bathroom, but that's not true. When we eventually got a bathroom in the house, it had no bolt on the door, nor did any of the bedrooms. He didn't want us to have any control over our privacy, which, when I think about it now, seems a bit odd. It would have been convenient for him to be able to lock the door when he was alone in a room with me. He adored Johnny Hallyday, and that meant we were all forced to listen to Johnny too, for hours on end during long days spent working on the house, during family car journeys or late-night sessions with friends. The more we listened to the same songs, the more the lyrics began to seem to me seared with deep hypocrisy. All that drama about the decent man with a pure heart, the tough guy who is, deep down, a softie, the suffering macho man, that whole symphony of self-pity repulsed me. My stepfather certainly thought of himself as a lonesome cowboy. He was always going on about his acute sense of injustice. There were a couple of anecdotes he liked to tell, about rough justice he'd witnessed in elementary school, how horrified he'd been. Whenever he caught my sister and me getting up to some mischief, he reprimanded the two of us severely, insisting on appropriate punishment. He would make us push wheelbarrows loaded with rocks from one end of the garden to the other, or dig holes or fetch wood. He had high moral standards which we were never allowed to breach. I saw him several times when I was a child heroically going to someone's aid in the mountains, at the scene of an accident or a fire. He worked for a few years as an ambulance driver. He oversaw safety and security on a team that worked on hazardous construction sites. He was transformed doing this kind of thing. He put his entire self into serving his objective, straining his muscles and his mind, almost aglow from within. People were always ready to follow his instructions, trusting his judgment and his instincts. He was the guide who led people to safety, the man who was prepared to sacrifice himself for the common good, who never wavered, even for a second, in the face of danger, fire, or snow. The embodiment of bravery. For years, I thought of him as godlike, larger than life. He seemed like a mythological creature, a Sisyphus, a Prometheus, tortured by demons. In retrospect, years later, I wonder if he was just a bit of a loser who had the gift of manipulating people and exploiting the vulnerability of someone more helpless than he. But within the shuttered world of our family, he was all-powerful. I guess he was both, a titan and a loser. Who wouldn't rather see themselves as the victim of a titan rather than a loser?